This is the best cameras on any phone, and it's not even close. Welcome to a day in the life with me and the Vivo X200 Ultra. The Vivo X200 Ultra is a phone like no other, a true flagship set on the camera technology. And honestly, this has been one of the coolest phones I've ever used. I've been daily driving this phone for the last month, and while I really love this phone, there are still a few quirks, as this is a phone that's designed to only be used in China, which means some of the software is a little bit off in outside of China regions. But other than that, there's a lot to talk about here. So in this day in the life, we're going to be taking the Vivo X200 Ultra through its paces. It's currently now 903 and the battery percentage is 100%. Let's get into this day in the life. Alright, now we're at uni. It's currently now 11:01 and the battery percentage is now at 97%. Now let's talk about the display on the Vivo X200 Ultra. And I honestly think this is worthy of that Ultra moniker because it's definitely one of the best displays you can get on any smartphone currently. On the front is a 6.82-inch AMOLED panel, and this has been a great phone to watch content, take photos on, and watch movies. It has pretty much every type of display technology that you want, and what it means is that everything looks really nice on here. Colors are accurate and vibrant, and with LTPO 120Hz refresh rate, everything looks super smooth and silky. Also gets pretty decently bright, even under sunlight, which is great to see, and with a QHD plus resolution, everything is super sharp. Altogether, the Vivo X200 Ultra's display deserves an A+ grade. Nothing else to say here over here, so let's keep going on what is day in the life. Alright, so it's now 11:55, battery percentage is now at 93%. Let's start to talk about the cameras on the Vivo X200 Ultra. The Vivo X200 Ultra has basically the best cameras on any smartphone for a really good reason. All the cameras here are ultra large sensor. Unfortunately, they're not 1-inch type sensors, but they're pretty close, and that's across the ultra-wide, the main camera, and the telephoto. In fact, the ultra-wide and the main camera are using the exact same sensor, which is a 1/1.28-inch sensor size, which is pretty incredible since you don't usually see that on an ultra-wide lens. We both have a 50-megapixel main and ultra-wide camera, and a 200-megapixel periscope lens. And to help me take some photos, my friends at PGY Tech have kindly sent out a few of their products for me to test out. And honestly, these are some pretty cool stuff. First off, we have the One Go rope strap bag. This is definitely one of my favorite bags, which allows me to carry my camera gear really easily and on the go. It's small, it's compact and light, but you can actually extend it so you can fit more stuff into it. It fits my lenses, my camera gear, and my actual camera itself, which is super convenient. Perfect for any type of trip. And next we have the photography smartphone strap, which is definitely a great addition to keep your phone on you all the time and be ready for any type of shot everywhere you go. Thank you to PGY Tech for sending these out, and if you want to check them for yourself, make sure to check the link in my description. Now let's take some photos. Now to start off, there are 3 color modes you can choose from: Zeiss, Vivid, and Texture. I found that the Zeiss and Texture modes are a bit more true to life, but I prefer the Vivid mode with its extra pop of color, which is what I'll be using for the rest of the camera test. Starting off with the ultra-wide, we get excellent details and dynamic range, the best I've seen on any ultra-wide camera, in fact. There's hardly any distortion and images look sharp and clear with great definition. Since the main camera has a 35mm lens, if you wanted a more typical 24 to 28mm look, you'll have to use the ultra-wide for that, and the results aren't too bad either, but definitely not as good as a dedicated 24 or 28mm lens. But when you switch to the 35mm, it makes all the difference. Depth of field and background separation is strong with great detail, color tones, and dynamic range. While it's not a 1-inch sensor, at this focal length, the effect is similar in my opinion. It creates a more composed, focused, and tight angle with overall great image quality. On the zoom side, we have an 85mm equivalent focal length paired with a massive 200-megapixel resolution, resulting in spectacular images and zoom quality. Even when you go past the regular 85mm length, you can still get some really good shots at 135 and beyond. Selfie shots are decent, as good as you can expect from a selfie camera, but nothing amazing. Turning on portrait mode, we get some really excellent bokeh and subject detection. It emulates a professional camera very well, and the rendering of tones and colors are very pleasant. Across both the main and zoom lenses, images pop out with great clarity, and this is probably the best portrait mode you can get on any smartphone currently. In terms of videos, the X200 Ultra can shoot up to 8K 30, but I'm just shooting in 4K since I'm not going to upload in 8K anyway. But I must say, videos on the X200 Ultra are actually pretty insane and probably the best that I've seen on any phone, even trumping the iPhone 16 Pros. This camera setup, especially for videos, it can do pretty much everything that you want it to do, and it's one of the best phones for vlogging, I would say, in my opinion. Definitely a great choice for anyone who's looking to create videos on their phone. So in conclusion, the Vivo X200 Ultra deserves an A+ grade for its cameras. This is the first phone I'm awarding an A+ grade, and it definitely deserves it. 100 out of 100. Nothing can come close to the camera quality on this phone, and it excels in pretty much every single category. From the ultra wide to the zoom cameras to the video quality, there's no phone that can come close to the quality and versatility of the Vivo X200 Ultra. And honestly, this is getting super close to the level of a dedicated camera. Super impressive stuff from Vivo. If you're looking for a phone with the best cameras, this is it. There's nothing else that can come close to this thing. Now, if you're wondering why there's a sausage sizzle running, well, we're actually running a free sausage sizzle as part of a Christian community event. So let's get a few sausages and then continue on with this day in the life.
Is anything out of place? Is anything wrong?
Alright, so we just wrapped up the barbecue, so pretty much done now. So we're gonna head back to campus. Been using the phone quite a bit and under direct sunlight, so brightness have been maxed out, and I've been using the cameras a lot. So now at 2:06, our battery percentage is at 71%. Anyway, let's get to campus and continue on with this day in the life.
Getting light sleep, cold feet, so far away from the morning. I need to tune out the sound of me growing independent.
Alright, so now we're inside the design and architecture building. It's a bit far away from the main campus, but it looks pretty cool. It's now currently 340 and the battery percentage is at 59%. Now let's talk about the performance on the Vivo X200 Ultra. The Vivo X200 Ultra has the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is to be expected, along with 12GB of RAM or 16 and UFS 4.1 storage, which is basically all you need for excellent performance. And so far, everything here has been blazing quick. You can run multitasking, you can launch apps super quickly, floating windows, everything is a breeze on this phone. And honestly, there's nothing else to say. This is definitely top-end performance and really haven't had much stutters, bugs, or any issues to be honest with. When we do turn on gaming, we can play Genshin Impact at high or on the highest graphics with no issues, and everything here is smooth. In terms of heat, the phone does get warm sometimes when you're doing gaming or under hot environments like under direct sunlight, but other than that, it stays relatively pretty cool. This is what you would expect from an Ultra phone, and it delivers it. So altogether, the performance on the Vivo X200 Ultra deserves a solid A+ grade. Alright, so after exploring a bit of the campus, it's now currently 5:35. Battery percentage is now at 46%. Now let's talk about the features, software, and the design of the Vivo X200 Ultra. Now starting off with the design, this is a very premium phone with nice glass and aluminium. And honestly, it is a little bit large, but it feels very good to the touch. Even though it looks like there's ridges on the back of the phone, it's actually not. It's all just glass, flat glass. And people might love or hate this camera design. Honestly, I'm a fan of it. It feels like a real camera. Also, it has IP69 water and dust resistance, so all fully covered in that regard. Now, when it comes to the software, it's running Origin OS 5, which is based on Android 15, which is the Chinese version of Fun Touch OS, which is what Vivo uses outside of China. Now, honestly, the OS is alright. Like, it's not anything out of the ordinary. However, because this phone was designed for use in China only, some apps are a little buggy. You can enable Google pretty easily, and Google services are running on this phone right now, but there are a few things that just are a little bit weird. For example, there's a lot of Chinese text still here and there within the UI, and also just some apps just aren't optimized properly for this phone. Now, when it comes to the features, you're getting 90-watt wired charging, 40-watt wireless charging, USB 3.1, a camera button, which is kind of like the iPhones, but this one is actually useful because it's actually lowered down on the phone, which makes it ideal for taking horizontal photos like a normal camera. Take some notes please, Apple. And for biometrics, an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. So altogether, this is a great feature set and definitely ultra. But if you are planning on bringing it outside of China, then things might not work as you would expect. So in that regard, while the actual features, design and software are top tier, you have to keep those things in mind, which means I'm giving the X200 Ultra's features, design and software grade an A grade, rather than an A+. Alright, I think it's time to get going home now. So, catch you guys at home. Alright, we're now back home. It is currently 8:49, our battery percentage is at 26%, and we've reached the end of my day in the life test. Now it's time to take a look at the Vivo X200 Ultra's battery performance to see how it did during the day. And so we had a screen on usage of 6 hours and 4 minutes, with 26% left over, which is actually pretty decent. This is a 6000 mAh battery cell with silicon carbon technology, and while I have seen a lot of other reviewers note that the X200 Ultra's battery performance isn't quite as impressive as it ought to be, in this day in life test, well, it did pretty well, and I'm pretty impressed with this. Altogether, the battery performance deserves an A+ grade. Now, let's wrap up my thoughts about the Vivo X200 Ultra as a whole. This phone has the best cameras on any smartphone out there, and it's not even close. If you are looking for a phone that has the best cameras possible, then this is the best phone to go for. But as I have noted in this video, this phone is designed to only be used in China, which means that a lot of the software is a little bit weird for people who are planning on importing it overseas. While there is full Google support, you're going to have to keep that in mind and also be prepared for some Chinese translations. But if you can get over that, this phone basically nails every single thing that you would want from an ultra smartphone. High-end display, awesome performance, a premium design, cameras, battery life, you name it. This phone gets an A+ or a 92 out of 100 grade rating, and it's the best phone I've ever used. Alright, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.